I'd like to buy a foreclosure. Do you know anything about buying foreclosures, how I might be able to find one? I get asked and told these sorts of things on a regular basis. Hardly a month passes that I don't hear that from someone, and buying a foreclosure can be a good opportunity. There can be some good deals had that way. There are different ways that you can buy a foreclosure. Now, before we go further, do know that oftentimes you can get just as good of a deal on the open market, just watching the multiple listing service, making offers on houses that are of interest to you. But in regards to foreclosures, a few ways that you might be able to buy one. Number one is at an auction at a local city or county courthouse. These are auctions where the lenders are trying to get their money back. Someone has stopped making payments. In Virginia, we have a trustee who is designated to collect that debt if the loan isn't paid, if someone stops making payments. A trustee will step in and they will hold an auction right outside of the county or city courthouse in an attempt to get what's owed on the property. Those auctions have to be advertised, and in Virginia they're called trustee sales, and you can go to those and you want to be prepared to perform and perform quickly. They're not going to allow you to, they're not going to have a provision that is a financing contingency. It can't be subject to you getting a loan from someone. You're going to show up with a big deposit, a non-refundable deposit, and you're going to be required to close within 2 weeks. So you either want to have the cash in the bank or a line of credit that will allow you to do just that. These are kind of low-key auctions. Someone will step up representing the trustee right outside of that courthouse and say, this is the property we're auctioning off. They'll give you some details, and the bids start at this. There may be just 2 or 3 people there. There could be 20 or 30. You may want to attend some of these auctions just to see how they work before you are prepared to make an offer or to bid at these auctions. And you'll come with a cashier's check, certified funds in a rather large amount, and that's how those go. So if it doesn't sell at auction, what typically happens is the lender will then take ownership of the property themselves. They'll hire a local realtor and they'll put that property on the market. So sometimes, unbeknownst to you, you're looking in the multiple listing service at houses for sale, and sometimes they're owned by banks. They are foreclosures where they didn't sell for enough at auction to satisfy the debt, so the lender says, I'll take ownership and I'll sell it myself. Sometimes it's not the lender who takes ownership. Sometimes it's HUD. You've heard of HUD homes. Sometimes it's the VA that takes ownership of the homes and then sells them. So oftentimes, houses advertised in MLS, they are foreclosures. And keep in mind that sometimes you can get just as good of a deal in the multiple listing service from a private homeowner just selling their house as you can from foreclosures. A last way that sometimes people can buy foreclosures is if you have a relationship with a local lending institution and you're able to find out who sees houses that are in arrears. Every now and then I hear of people getting tips or leads from mortgage companies saying, this house is going to be coming up for auction. Now typically, or I should say it's not typical that you get to buy one like that without other people being in contention to buy it as well. But it never hurts to have connections at local banks where someone might be able to give you a heads up that this is a property we're going to be taking possession of, or this is a property that's in arrears, it's going to be coming up for auction. Sometimes you can get a head start on trying to buy foreclosures that way. So there are some good opportunities out there when it comes to foreclosures. I'd say don't limit yourself that way, however, because there are many other good deals that would not fall into that category. But if you're wondering about what it looks like to buy foreclosures, there you go. Hey, one last thing. A lot of times I'll hear even first-time home buyers say, hey, I want to buy a foreclosure. Because again, they want a good deal. Who doesn't? The difficulty with that oftentimes is that the type of financing that first-time buyer will be getting, again, won't work for you buying it the house at an auction outside the courthouse. And even then, if it doesn't sell at auction, the foreclosure, that property has to be in pretty good shape for that type of buyer to be able to get financing, because the lending requirements on the house they'll buy will require that it be in somewhat good condition. So if it's a foreclosure in great condition, it might work. If not, probably not. So a few insights today. I hope you have a fantastic week.